Hi, we're here with Sam Martin from Exterior Architecture. Very lucky to have a couple of moments of his time, and just thought we'd ask a couple of questions about the show this year, Chelsea 2012. What were your overall impressions of the gardens this year, Sam?
Well, I've managed to get around all of the show gardens, and the overall feeling for me is that there's a very consistent use of colour in the planting of the flowers used. It's very muted, nothing too bright. A lot of that's to do with the season we've had. However, a lot of the materials that people use with the plants would suggest other colours they'd always intended to use. So there's kind of purples and mauves and whites, the odd bit of yellow, not really dark blues, not really reds, not really oranges, maybe a little bit of pink, which to me overall is a good soft sort of blend and goes well with green. I think that the general feeling for me is that the sort of budgets seem to have appeared to have come down, so whether or not they actually have, I think the suggestion is that people aren't willing to look as though they're spending too much money on their show gardens.
So would you say that perhaps compared to the last few years, maybe a little bit of austerity creeping into design?
Yeah, possibly. And I think in that sense there's not such a mixture or a mash-up of materials as there has been in the past, and I'd say that this sort of stone is not quite so sort of from far afield as it used to be. It's slightly more British often, the stone that's being used. And the plant materials are generally ones that we can aspire to using rather than things that might not necessarily grow normally. The season we've had, which is a drought, which is actually the wettest drought we've ever had, is difficult as well.
Yeah.
But I think the reflection here today of the planting reflects pretty much the season we've actually had up to now. As far as trends going forward coming out of it, who knows what the press will pick up on, but I think the overall feel for me is that the colour schemes and the colours we've got could be used through all of the year, both through to the end of summer. So we've got flowers here as ever that flower not normally until August.
And if you're going to pick out one highlight of the show?
My highlight would be the Korean garden, which is for the prisoners of war from Korea down at the far end of the show. It's not necessarily photogenic, it's something you've got to see. So if people are lucky enough to be here or come here, then that's one I would recommend thoroughly to go and see.
Excellent.
Sitting in the shadow of Dermot's pyramid, which is very, very disappointing, to say the least.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for your time. Hope you have a great rest of the show. And look forward to catching up with you next year.
Cool.
Thank you very much.